Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get to this podcast off the ground, I had so many questions. How do I record an episode? Where do I find my background music? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other places people like to listen? Where do I find the advertisers? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing and monetizing your podcast. And best of all, it's 100% free and 100% ridiculously easy to use. So, if you want to start a podcast, go to anchor.fm/start to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Thirst Trek. And today we're going to be talking about Thirst Trek with Lower Decks again. Last time I had a first impression where I thought it was okay, could have been funnier. The pilot was okay, could have been funnier, however. But in today's episode, it's not pretty funny, it's funny. It is funny, however. Because I was doubtful for a Star Trek, in a form of comedy, however. But thank God it's animated, and of course it's really, really funny. For its adult comedy. But, however, even though it will contain some language, however, for this podcast, but, however, we're going to talk about Star Trek with But I'm coming up with Nickelodeon. I would talk about, Star Trek Legacy, however, which is going to be, on Nickelodeon, and of course, it's for kids, however. But, in spite of it being for kids, I would love to review Star Trek, Star Trek Legacy, which is another animated one, but it's going to be for the younger demographic. But I am but like I said, I'll say it before, I have been a Star Trek fan for a long. But to warn you guys, I thought it was funny, but it's time for that. I mean, there's a reference, a Klingon, like Battle with Star Trek, and of course, and there's a lot of species, and and of course the inside of so I'll be right back. So and I thought the connection with the with Bender and Boimler were pretty interesting, like a bit of a sibling rivalry and a love tease, and of course, yep, and you know, I thought you'd get in a friendship mode, but there is something that could be more than friends, you know, with Boimler and Mariner becoming more than friends. I can I can sense that, however. And even though we didn't get much of Tandy, of Ensign Tandy, however, but Rutherford on Pursuit was pretty funny, however. You know, it's the member of the bridge, and then the member of the medical team. But there's a later on I'm gonna reveal. But yeah, like I say, there were moments I confused, but like too. But as a bit of a nitpick, but however, I gotta say, I'm enjoying this the second season. It's funny. All right, guys, that's gonna not do about it for Lower Decks because there's gonna be a review, and to warn you guys, there will be spoilers ahead. Because if you guys haven't watched Star Trek Lower Decks, or you guys haven't got Paramount Plus, do so now. I mean, but if you have no interest in Star Trek, however, well, I would say shame on you. But I would say, fine. You were warned. Now here comes the spoiler warning. Yes, we begin at this episode with inside the lower decks of the USS Choritos. Well, it makes me hungry for Doritos, that's for sure. And here's Inside's Mariner and Tandy. We're hanging around, and of course, carrying the pods until we see the light. It said he would grant wishes. That he would grant wishes, however. But although she wishes for a phone, and gave Mariner a phone, but of course asked for some, you know, pods, however, or you know, like a rod, like what? Oh, what is it? Crystal? And then he gave her a crystal, and they both walked out. And then here comes Captain Freeman, her mother, however. The light said, "Die, mortal!" But it backfired because it's the light's the one that died. As Freeman has walked into it, and nothing happened to her. Yep. And then we begin with. Yep, that is a cold open of Star Trek. It's like I say, this is a cold open, however. An interesting one. But sure, man, we got Star Trek that opened up with prologue. Well, we got the Star Trek that opened up with, an intro, and then Star Trek Next Generation with the prologue. And of course, we got this Star Trek with a cold open, which reminds me of Freeze Flame 22's. But back what I was saying, we see, of course, with Rutherford and Tenny, we're having a talk, However, it's just having a discussion that he wants to be something more than the mechanic. And of course, we saw Boimler, who is smiling, but it also saw Mariner, and he was not happy to see her. That he's got an assignment, however. Yeah, he's got an assignment with on a mission to transfer the Klingon General Korean to the Federal Assembly on Tagana 4. Yeah, of course, and they were at Rutherford, just talked to one of his fellow crew, and he decided to leave the nest, or in that case, leave the fleet for a bit to preserve on the greener pastures. And then, of course, one of the ensigns with the mustache was really looking like he's not happy, but he's okay with, him being reassigned with another. It's like, that is acceptable. And then while we get an introduction with Corinne, Mariner has, of course, was assigned to the same mission, and the two were pretty awesome at fighting. Yeah, because this reminds me of a scene on Star Trek, right before Spock had made peace with this species. They live long and prosper. And yeah, I apologize if there was like an Easter egg. And I thought that was a warp, however. So, with Carib and the Turks, and of course they were laughing it out. Sorry. They were laughing it out, revealing that those two are pretty good friends. And the pair were drinking beverages while Boimler flies them to a planet. And of course it was really, really funny. And Corey mentioned about sexual activities. Interesting. I've seen a sexual an activity since Star Trek Into Darkness. And again, I will not review the movies because I'm more intrigued at Star Wars as a movie rather than Star Trek as movies. But in series, no matter Star Wars or Star Trek, I will review those. But yeah, they landed on a planet and of course they got out and Corey passed out for being drunk. And they were lost in Tugana 4. And they were, of course, stranded on that planet, trying to get their shuttle back. But Rutherford, who was Rutherford, who was transferred from being in engineering to be in the bridge. What could possibly go wrong? Was put in simulation at the and one of the captains oh yeah, Jack Ransom started simulation of him being the captain, and then of course he says they engaged and were pretty bloodied up and fearful. And then he did it again. Second time, that's the second strike. One more and the simulation's over. Of course I would say you're out. Like, no, he did not. No, Jack did not withdraw him out. It's, baseball. It's directory, you're out. But it ended pretty badly. And the casualty numbers are 105. But then again, it's all simulation. It's not legit. And then, of course, with the next one, asteroid, it's tried a normal one called Janel's Way, and they lost the children. But Jack was not annoyed with like he was with Boimler, but it was just saying, why would we try the one with hundreds of children? And back on Tagana. Well, back in the planet, they were looking for Korean. They were lost in translation. Well, of course, they spotted a Klingon looking for their fleet. While Manor is doing a good job, however, but Boimler makes things difficult with what he was making fun of the way Klingons eat and the food. And she drawed her sword or draw her knife to the Ensign. And they saw the creature looking was just roaring. And I do admit that was pretty funny, however, where he tried to speak that language, and he said, female dot on other faces or something, and then the beast was going to kill him for such vulgar. And then, of course, threw the wallet away. And then the monster was terrified, thinking, oh my god, my dad's going to kill me. And then we go back to the Starfleet. with with uh with the cat-looking species named Tiana. Of course, this gave him a simulation for, well, not a simulation, but talking about patient, make sure to be cool with it and not screwing it up. But he said some things, intensifying patients, and of course put him in fear. Put him in fear, and then the patient is starting to intensify to his death, and then Tiana removed him and placed Tevi to calm the patient down. And she did, and he was really happy with her, but not too pleased with Rutherford. That Rutherford was reassigned somewhere else. And back on the planet with of course Boimler and Murder. Well, she's going to go to the bathroom. We see that hot Earth woman. Ooh, nice. And they were about to kiss, but she was sprayed, and Boimler was responded with, "What the hell?" But she was a succubus-looking lizard who nearly put the eggs down in that Ensign's throat. And it got sprayed again and fled. And then, of course, they go to the bar where the species are attacking the elderly man, and Boimler just screwed it up by attacking the one he thought they were see, but it was a shapeshifter, and they began to fight. And Boimler was, of course, getting attacked, and he got stung in the leg, and he was screaming like a little girl. But Murder again, even though cocky, but she is actually, clever. And I'm not saying it like a political agenda or anything, but she did found a way to to distract them by, buying drinks for them. And she was celebrated and held as their savior. Then Rutherford again met with Psyox, the mustache-looking human with a poor old mustache. However, what's been going on? And he was put in a simulation where he may be a cyborg, but it was those other cyborgs that closed it into him, close to 75% human, or 90% human, and 10% cyborg. He can fight back. Huh, nice. And pleased with his And Sax, however, was surprised. Because most times when you put humans on training, they learn to know the defeat, but he just let him join the race of being a warrior. And that's pretty much cool. And at back at the planet, however, at the assignment, Boimler was about to give up. He's pantsless, and he's got a sting in his leg. But my mariner came to, have a company chit chat. And a bit of you were. And then they go, and of course they go to the looking character, and he is, of course, noticing that species, and of course, she also said that he's always been wrong. And he's always been wrong for things, and she's not wrong about that. Ensign ain't wrong about that. And I'm talking about Mariner, not Boimler. But we do have that species, of course, looking for a Starfleet that asks. And then Boimler asked for that creature's numbers. And then pulled a knife on them and then fled. And of course she says she came to admit that he was right. And then of course, he was being glowy about it. He got a chance to gloat. Those two would make a perfect couple someday, but not today. And they found the drunken Cordo. Yeah, they found the drunken captain and they placed him, and he threw up. And it's assembly they found Corno. We finally found Cordo. And they returned back to the USS Chorizo, and of course, gave him back the pin. The pin that is, like the other characters wore. And thus it ends we're not gonna end the episode yet with of course their secret is safe with each other. But he was being, but he just loved the gloat in story. The other Ensigns were laughing, and she got annoyed. But then looking back and with a smile, however. And then talked to the one who robbed him, and she set the whole thing up by being friends with that alien, and of course asked, how's the wife? And then ends with, oh crap! I forgot about Rutherford. Sax, however, introduced his fellow warriors to Rutherford, and everybody was cheering. And then Rutherford saw the tunnel, and he missed being in the tunnel. Because since he's a warrior, he's not allowed to. And then, of course, he wants to go back as an engineer and Shax, however, was skeptical. Well, thought he was skeptical, but he also approved. But he allowed it. Like, acceptable. And he and his fellow warriors were cheering, in his farewell. And then he and Temmie were hanging out. Of developing a great friendship. But, yeah, I'm not gonna include that saying it's gonna be more than that. But, we will find out. Okay. That's been an interesting episode. So we are going to end. We're going to end the episode of Thirst Trek. Okay, guys, that's going to be about it for this episode of Thirst Trek. So, yeah, like I say, I mean, the comedy was there. The humor was there, and of course, the reason for his pursuit was pretty interesting. And I loved it. And of course, I loved the Boiler Mariner developing a rivalry with with an on and off friendship, and someday I hope to see them get into something more than friends. But that's for another time. So, yep. I'm going to return with Thirst Trek, however, next week with episode 3. And of course, the part of the week is we're going to include the South Park pandemic and vaccine specials. In which I saw this vaccine special, one of the South Park characters will be killed off and never seen again. And the answer will be found out on Monday. Alright guys, that's going to be about it for Thirst Trek. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, live long and prosper.